Hi.
Hello, hello. So
Hello.
I had to put on my good shirt for you.
Oh, I like that African shirt.
Yeah,
I like that African shirt, that's for sure. How are
yeah.
you?
I'm doing great, and you?
I'm doing great. I'm just grateful to be here. And it's this is my time of life where I'm elderly, so I'm glad to be here.
So I couldn't start the conversation because anyone who follows me or follows the platform knows I always say, if I say the name Leona Mitchell, I'm going to follow it up with, she sings the girls down. And I gotta tell you that Leona, you sing the girls down.
Oh, how sweet. How sweet and how nice of you to say that.
So I guess just to start off, when did you discover you had such a gift?
I came from a musical family. My dad was a minister, and we sang in the church. And my elder sisters and brothers played all kind of instruments, and they would call the musical Mitchells. So I was surrounded by gospel music, and we had all kind of instruments in our home. So we were expected to participate and be one of these Mitchells that sang. So I actually got a lot of training in the church, and but not opera. I didn't hear my first opera until I was about 16 years old. And my music teacher introduced me to opera. I was singing, little songs like I don't know, some little songs for programs and things, but nothing with opera in it. And so she introduced me to opera, and I heard Leontine Price and Maria Callas. Those are the first two people I heard. Isn't that something? Yeah. So she was a choir director here in Enid, and she really directed me to opera. She said, "I think you have the voice, and would you just go to OCU and audition for me?" So I went to the school, and I sang Aida, the last duet in Aida. She got me to learn that. She taught it to me. And so the music teacher, Inez Silberg, went out the room. She said, "Surely she's more than 17." And no, she's 17, and this is her first opera. And so she brought back in the whole music school to hear me, because I had no money to go to that school. I was one of 15 children. And so she told the school, "You've got to find a scholarship for her. She's talented." So, right off the bat, I had these people those two ladies that were backing me.
So you were introduced to opera through the public school system. Is that where you also got your first like official voice lessons?
Yeah, well, yes, it was. I didn't have a voice lesson until I got to college. So she just taught me, and I learned it because I had taken 3 years of Spanish and 3 years of French in my little high school and junior high. So the Italian, it was not hard for her to teach it to me. And then I just knew how to sing high C's and B flats. In our race, sometimes we just know how to do that. so so I just learned it, and I evidently did a good job with it. So yeah, my first lesson was in college.
So can you talk a little bit about, because you come from a gospel background, could you expound upon a little bit of how that musical upbringing or knowledge translated for you over into the classical world?
Well, there were positives and negatives. Of course, in the gospel singing, and just like pop, you're singing in your throat, and I didn't really know how to always get to the higher part of my voice, because it was all in the throat singing. So that's something that I had to learn to kind of let go of, and be introduced to this other kind of way of singing. Um, the positive sides from the gospel is that, and especially my background, is that I had, I guess I wasn't afraid to sing because I was always put out front in front of people and large amounts of people. And so that was a plus for me, going into opera and being on show, because she the preacher's daughter, and I was over the choir, and so I was not shy in that way. So that was a positive thing that I got from my gospel. But I had to unlearn how to not push in my bottom voice, because that's what I did in gospel. Yeah, it was a transition for me.
Because sometimes when I listen to gospel, like traditional gospel, that's in some Classical music, Verdi comes to mind off gate. I
Mm,
noticed some of the musical textures are similar. Would you say the same?
yeah, but especially it's a crossover now because a lot of people have been studying classically, especially today. I think it's a marriage sort of the classical that kind of goes into that gospel, and that's so exciting to me. Woo! So yeah, they've taken that and kind of combined it and put it in the opera too. So it's amazing.
I know different sources have you listed. Some say you went to Juilliard, others say you went to San Francisco. Which is
Okay, I was enrolled in Juilliard, and I spent a year, sorry, say season, because they wanted me to do their bohème there, and I wasn't enrolled at the college, so they enrolled me, and I was part of the opera study, and yeah, I went to Juilliard, not San Francisco. Any no conservatory there. I just was a part of the San Francisco opera programs and things like that, and the Maryland program and spring opera, things like that, but not in the university. But Juilliard, I was a part of. Yeah.
you made your career start very, very young.
Oh
What
my
was that
God.
like?
It
How
was,
did
I
that
didn't know
happen?
any better. I didn't know that you didn't do that. I didn't know anything. I was just a green apple. Yeah, I went straight from university almost to making my Met debut. It was amazing. And and most people don't do that. And, I don't hardly know anybody that's done that route. I wasn't planning on doing that route either. I was going to be like everybody else. I was going to go to Europe and test things out and things like that. But it just happened that I had done when I won San Francisco just out of college, and I won that contest, and it put me in contact with the San Francisco Opera, which in turn, I was in the Maryland program, and then they enrolled me. Then they gave me some work with their spring opera. I mean, at that point, I was just doing a lot of concerts, around the United States, and uh, you know. Uh, but other than that, I had made a maybe European debut with Matilda, the William Tell's Matilda. And other than that, and maybe Santa Fe, I'd done Donna Anna or something like that, but not a big resume. And but when I did those things, it was a big press following me. So I came to light, pretty early. They said I was a talent, right? So anyway, I done these Micaelas with the San Francisco Opera and things. And so this soprano that was supposed to do this production at the Met canceled. And for some, the one of the artistic administrators had been in San Francisco, and he said, "I know who could sing that." And he said, "Leona Mitchell." So here I am, just out of nowhere. Oh, I didn't know at that time that if I hadn't succeeded, that I would never be seen again. But I didn't even know that. So that was a good thing. But I was afraid, and I came in and replaced that soprano. And oh yeah, let me tell you this. Before that, I had done Porgy and Bess around the country, and so London Records was making a recording of it. And so I got to do that. So that was under my umbrella before this Met thing. So I was becoming known a little bit. So because that was the first full recording of Porgy and Bess that was ever done. And we won a Grammy for that. And so I was getting known. And that was basically it, and I had done okay in my college, which God bless them, they were treating us undergrads like graduate students. I had done maybe about 8 operas at that school. So I got, I got to be on stage in costumes, and the conductor was one of the he was a conductor at the Oklahoma City Symphony. So it was like, really up there, the players and things. And so I got a lot of experience before I graduated bachelor with my bachelor's. And then also I was doing a lot of contests, and I maybe had won like 30 national contests or something. So I was, I kind of, that's what was under my belt, but not to be at the Met, my God, So anyway, remember backstage, and I wasn't with just any cast. I was with Placido Domingo and, the top tenor at the time, and Regine Crespin. I didn't even get to rehearse with Placido. He was because he'd already done it. So I just rehearsed in a room at the Met. I had never been on the stage. I had never heard the orchestra. I mean, and I was just concentrating. And so when I remember Paul, I said, okay, back there. And he said, aren't you afraid? And I said, no, I don't have time. I've got to get out here and do singing. I was just green, and it was wonderful because I didn't have enough sense to be afraid. I was just gonna go do my job, and thank God OCU just taught me that. I don't know why the critics were even there, because I was, that was the second run of things, and they didn't, but they came and reviewed me, and it was quite a send off. Yeah, so then I was there for 18 seasons. After that, I just was doing so many things there.
Yeah, you debuted at the top.
Right. But thank God, there's the God and babies, because I didn't understand what was at stake. So that was a positive thing. Later on, I understood. Oh my God, this is really something. This is amazing, and as as you get up to the top and things, it's a big political machine, and it's huge.
Piggybacking off of that statement that you just made, a question I had was, I was reading a lot of your early reviews, like in the Times and across international press, and there were comments such as the second coming of Leontine or the new Leontine or things like that. I don't know if you thought about it back then or think about it now, but do you think that did more harm than good, even though it was good intentioned?
Yeah. Yes, because golly, I mean, what a icon, and what a singer of all ages, really. I didn't know they were always comparing, because I didn't always read my reviews. But yeah, I was told that. And then I think with the Leontine, and then we may look similar, I don't know. And it was a big deal. They were really trying to push me right in that slot, and it was, well, you can't be. I mean, it's only one Leontine, right? So that was really difficult. And toward the middle of the career, it got really bad because they were really, yeah, trying to make me be in that slot. But anyhow, I didn't know that much at the beginning, and also I was really happy that I never really listened to her that much. And any similarities is just because God made it that way. Because I would be, yeah, it's a privilege to be even in her presence or say that you're similar. But it was God's doing, because I wasn't one of those singers that sat and studied every note that she sang. But I wished I had, maybe. But I didn't. It was difficult at the end. I realized, I think Opera News wrote an article about it, that it's a shame that they were always pushing Leona to be, the next Leontine. I mean, it should have just been Leona.
Because of that push to be the next Leontine is the reason why. Do you think it limited you in like the rep that you sing? Because I know you're known as for your Italian,
Italian.
your Italian, your rep,
Yeah.
very good rep. But
Yeah, my rep. Did it limit me because I was being pushed in the Leontine way? No, I actually chose that. I had many meetings with James Levine as I was going along. He did not want me to do that repertory. He did not want me to do the Verdi he was trying to direct me to the Mozartian, and kind of like Bella the Baby Doe, those kind of lyric things. And he was very disappointed that I didn't want to do those operas with him. But he went along with the ride, and it was controversial because it was almost too close to Leontine. That's a chance I took, and with a very similar repertory. And but that's the one I liked. But I kind of now think maybe I kind of should have listened to him a little bit, because I remember, let me just tell you this. I was doing a gala, and Tony Randall, he loved opera. You remember the actor Tony Randall? I don't know if you ever know him, you're young. So, but anyway, he loved opera. So he was walking, he had a party at his home, and he was talking to me. He said, Leona, because I was doing some of the William Tell, and he said, oh my God, this is the repertory you should do. You could make it your signature repertory, because nobody sings it like that. And I thought that was lovely, but I wasn't listening to him. I'm gonna, I like Aida and I like Trovatore. And but I really wished maybe I had leaned toward that a little bit because it was something that maybe people wouldn't have heard, you know. Because like for instance, Leontine wanted to, at the end of her career, she wanted to be really going into the Strauss repertory and things, but they didn't really want to hear it that much. She did one performance of Ariadne, and they didn't, I guess, want her to put her stamp on that. So, and let me just jump ahead because I was let go to me too soon. The too soon because they do by age or something, and you know we don't always age the same way, Black people. Let me just put it out there, and vocally as well. So I wanted to go into that Straussian thing too, and I really wanted to do Turandot. I wanted to, you know, show where my voice was going even more after what it had done, and they just didn't want to hear it. I mean, I was so disappointed, you know, because let's see, I studied Norma, and I thought it's some little, I think on YouTube it might be some, you could listen to me do the coloratura and things in that.
Yeah,
With
there's a
my
Costa Diva.
yes. So I mean, I was really able to do this, and I studied it, and I really almost knew that whole piece. I was waiting for somebody to ask me to do that, and it was a different sound than what they've been used to hearing. Because sometimes it's a la Callas, because a la Callas had that dramatic voice and then did the coloratura. So that's what I was bringing to it. Because a lot of times they do the lyric coloratura, something doing Norma, and it takes a great deal of dramatic singing too. So I really wanted to do that Norma. Oh my God. And the Turandot, I did that too. The whole thing. And I did Ariadne. Nobody's heard that. I did the Ariadne like maybe 12 performances in Australia. But I was ready to go a little further and a little longer. Yeah. I think there's a tape of me. I was 63 years old and I was doing that. It was a concert and I did let me see, the Otello. And you can still see. I was still singing. I
The
could
red
say,
dress.
yes.
It's the pianissimo A flat.
Right. I was 63 years old. And see, the Met let me go at 50. I still was ready. And that Costa Diva or something, those all were around when I was 50 years old. And I had plenty to give left. But anyway, that's the way it is. So maybe the next person, maybe Latanya Moore get to sing the 70. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you know, because Leontine paved the way. She still could sing in her 70s. And I can too, really, but I'm just kind of like letting it go now. I've kind of just let it go. And I'm going into another way now. I'm doing something else.
Yeah, another reason what motivated me to ask about your repertoire because I was recently listening to your Symphony Number 2 with Tobias
Oh,
Picker,
Tobias,
and I
yeah.
was like, and I remember I heard it the first time, and then I played it again. I said, "Oh, is this German?"
Yes, yes.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "Is that so?" I was like, "Oh, this is
Oh yeah,
good."
yeah. Oh, listen, if you go to any of my recitals, I do a lot of German. Matter of fact, some people love is I think it's Alles, I'm not Alesien, but one of those art songs, and the people just keep clicking on it because I mean my German was lovely. You know, I did Pamina at the Met, you know that? That's German. Ach, ich fühl's. Es ist verstehen. Yeah, I can do German. And I did French a lot of French art songs. And, you know, so I had a lot of versatility that way.
You're one of the leading spinto sopranos in the world at this time, and one of the most versatile. Where were the albums? Where were the
Yeah, see,
albums?
this was a problem, and this is why my name is not a household name because I didn't get those albums at that time. And the only reason that people are hearing me is because of videos, because you know all these opera companies would take these videos, and thank God, or else you wouldn't even know about me at all. I did one recording with Kurt Adler, and Tobias, and maybe a little Christmas thing with Placido, not much, but it just became I don't know, it seemed to be the way that I thought about it. My husband, who was with me for years, 40 years, we thought about it, and actually it was somewhat political because they wanted somebody to come after Leontine, but then they didn't necessarily want it to be a Black woman. I don't know. It just ended up, it worked against me. They just were determined not to record me. This is a story that I will tell that I haven't told. I was in Israel. I sang with the Israeli Philharmonic for years, and maybe 10 years. I came synonymous with one of the singers that they always brought back. And they came on tour in the United States. It was one of the first times. I sang with them at the Hollywood Bowl, and then New York, he had to cancel. They would not let me come to New York. They didn't want me to be known that way. Isn't that a crazy? But Zubin had to say, well, I can't bring you to New York City. Did you hear me? It's a political crap, because it's like if they keep you in under wraps, you don't get so big. It's very puzzling. Very puzzling. And I remember when my agencies were so kind of upset about the recordings. I did my Lincoln Center recital debut and packed, and all the record companies usually come, and they wouldn't come. They didn't want to hear it. My agent at the time was saying he was so furious. He said they won't even come because they know it, that'll be what they hear, and they don't want to show that they're being whatever they're being, that they're not going to put me on the disc. Isn't that something?
You're still at the Met and around the world at this time?
Yeah, every time I was getting a lucrative contract, it would fall through. It was one time I was in France, and I was, they loved me in France. I was just everywhere in France. Verdi Requiems, I don't know, just operas and everywhere. But anyway, this conductor, he was going to do all my arias and everything. And then all of a sudden he got ill. And so when he got well, he never came back and said he would do it. But it's like I was blacklisted. That's what I'm going to tell you. And you'd have to ask them the total reason. I could only surmise what the reason was. Here I was at the top, singing all of these things with Luciano and Placido and all of them, and doing, stellar, reviews and all of this, and audience and and still not able to get a recording. Yeah, amazing. And it was very hurtful to me. It was very damaging to me. It made me feel lesser than an ant, because all my colleagues around me, and that's what people, even I don't care how you sang, if you had all of this discography, you were famous. And so I remember sometimes early on going to parties, and people would call me Kathy Battle, and I said, no, I'm Leona Mitchell, when she was starting. Although we don't know who that is, right? So it was really, really debilitating, and it actually made me question myself. I went for, I don't think the last 10 years or 15 years I would have done it if it weren't for my husband. I wouldn't have gone back. I wouldn't keep singing because it was so caustic, and that element was there where I had to always introduce myself to Europe as a whole new person because I didn't have records, So, my colleagues who could rest on their laurels because they had that discography and well known, I had to be every time presenting myself. But you know what the positive thing about that was? It was honest applause. So, they were always, when they did that, it's one applause, I started crying because I didn't remember. I knew that it was successful, and I knew that, but I didn't remember the applause. And it was the Trovatore. It's a performance. It's not, I don't think it's visual, it's auditory. But it was, I had just done the D'Amour sur la Rosée, and the applause just lasted and lasted and lasted. And I started crying because I thought, because you don't get that kind of applause unless you sing a certain way. And so, and or else you're a top singer. And so for me, with a name unknown and to get that kind of applause, it stopped the show, right? So I said, oh, so I did have the goods, but these people just were not going to record me, and it really caused me a lot of angst and anxiety. And if it hadn't been for my husband, I wouldn't have kept singing. And it also showed in some of my singing a little later because of that, I'd have great nerves. Nobody knew this, but I'd have serious nerves. And then that would make me not sing like I should have. So it was playing with me big time. Yeah.
You mentioned previously about how the voice is still intact. So I think your last performance at the Met was in 93.
Mm-hmm.
It was in 93. And then afterwards, I still see you're singing down in Tosca and Buenos Aires.
Yeah,
You're still
Orange. I was doing Orange. All of these places. I was all over still. Let me tell you this story. It was so awful. Like during that time, when you're saying that, and you can get back to it, it was a woman that called me from, I don't know, American Federation or something, and asked me would I do a recital. And I said, of course, because I wasn't doing anything. I'd just been let go at the Met. To me, I call it let go. And I thought, okay, well, I'll do this recital. And then, I had to learn a piece or something that they wanted. And then I get a call back and she says, Miss Mitchell, I heard that you're not really singing well. And can we just get rid of this contract? Because I forget which organization, a very high organization in the United States, said that you had retired and you're not singing well. And I was furious. And this was just before the internet took hold and just before all of these videos could show. So I had to scramble with and I was going to show this woman. I was maybe 43 years old. And I had to show her. I had to find any kind of tapes that I had by of my own and send it to this lady to show her that I indeed was singing. I was still going over in Australia doing all kind of things, Turandos and Ariadnes and everything. And I said, who told you that? And then it was one of our relied on organizations. I don't care to say who it was, but I was just struck. I mean, they were trying to bury me. I told her, no, you're not going to, this is a valid contract and I'm going to sing whether I can sing or not. And you're going to honor it. And I will be there da. And so she was just, oh, okay. When I went to that and I did that performance, I'm telling you, Malik, the angels opened up. I was going to show her. And by the time I finished that show, the whole audience was to my feet to coming to just tell me. And she just was looking so crazy. But I just had to, I said, oh no. And so, but then I was so grateful because the internet came on after that, because all of these people from these countries were showing my videos. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. I was so busy, Malik. I traveled 300 days a year. That's what I did. I never stopped. I did that for 30. I did that all the time. And the ones the opera singers said they have vacations. I didn't know what that was. I was just always, because I didn't have that discography. I had to always prove myself to these audiences that didn't know you. But what a great thing when they would clap like that. But matter of fact, I just saw the other day my Tosca from Mexico. And unfortunately, they were promoting the tenor, so it's under his name. But I got to actually see me visually do it. I had never seen it. And then I got to hear it, and the applause at the end was so amazing. Oh my God, it's worth everything. I'm sorry about the tear up, but it's worth everything I did to hear that the people loved me like that. It's worth everything. And to have somebody, they put it on for the tenor, but I'm the soprano, I'm Tosca. But how wonderful. I thought that's how I sounded. I thought that's what was going on. Okay, so.
I'm getting emotional because I remember when I first heard you for the first time, I was of the very Requiem. You're wearing, I think it's 1992. You're in France.
Oh, yes, that was the conductor I was talking about that was going to do a lot of recordings with me. Yeah.
And so, and I was like, who is this? And then I remember the second recording I heard was actually, it was you singing Yes. That was Yes.
Oh, yes, my church song. Yes.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
was moved to tears, and I
Oh,
sent it
thank
to
you.
my
But see,
friend.
oh my God, the yes is so special to my heart because that's what we sang all the time in our church. And so for me to put it in a kind of classical form, I just, yeah, you know what, Malik? When my mom and my sister first heard that, that's what they started crying too because they said it touched their soul. And that's been so important to me. But anyway.
And that's when I decided to tell everyone that you sing the girls
All of
down.
your friends got to hear, huh?
Yes, and
Oh,
they
how
will
wonderful.
continue to hear it.
Oh, how wonderful. How wonderful.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, you leave you're still singing down. You're going.
All everywhere,
You're
all
doing
over the world.
turn dots.
Mm,
You left.
yeah.
You retired early. You still had a high C and a D
Yeah,
flat.
yeah, yeah, yes.
What was the motivation?
Well, my husband was my motive. I'm telling you, if he were not with me, he even when I was gone from the Met, I rehearsed. He was sitting there on the couch every day. He would want me to go through my repertoire, singing full voice, playing for myself, just going through the duets, the Tosca. I would just, and so I kept my voice in shape. It was quite amazing. That's how I kept it in shape to 63, at least 63, 64, because I was doing that every single day, rehearsing at the top of my lungs, just everywhere. So I kept the power and the strength. I think when you get older, you start losing a bit of the strength and power. Let me just say, I would not be liking to do an opera per se because physically I'm not. I remember Leon T telling me at 57, oh no, I'm finished with this on the knee thing. And I'm not gonna do that anymore. But as you get, like, I am 73 now and I will be 74. And it really is precarious to kind of do that, to physically go into an opera and do it. But I wouldn't mind doing maybe some orchestral way to sing it, if you did it with the orchestra, or do some small recitals, that kind of thing. But as far as essaying those big girls and getting out there and walking around and doing all that, I wouldn't do that now. But Malik, but I have this passion that I have for singing. I'm changing it around. I'm putting it into this. I think you've heard me say it the last time. I'm just kind of figuring out how to do it and which things I like the best. But I do like singing like jazz and things like that. So that's what I like right now.
Yeah, I saw some articles, and I've actually seen a couple videos of you call it jazz
Oh yes,
opera.
slay.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes,
Yeah, those
yes.
kind of things. Yeah, I like that. So
So
it's very I'm still singing, but it's just a whole nother me. It's a whole bottom part of the voice. And yeah, I really, really, really like that. And it's fun for me.
So with that being said, I know like you've been doing the recitals and you've made this transition into the
Jazz opera.
jazz opera. Yeah. So is it hard musically for you to make that transition?
No, because I pulled back up on that gospel thing that I had when I was 9 and 8. It's all still there. So, but it's not what I like to do are ballads basically. Like for instance, Malik, I'm going to sing it for you right now. And when October goes, the snow begins to fly above the stone smoky roofs. I see the planes go by. I like that.
Sing the girl down.
That's what I like. So, and my heart is still in it, so the people still hear me. It's just a whole nother little way. Did you like that?
I did. I
Okay, it was
did.
easy to listen to.
Well, I actually had tickets to go. You were about to make your well, re-debut, or I don't know the proper word, comeback to the operatic stage in Emily. Could you talk a little bit about
Oh
that?
yes. Oh gosh. Tobias talked me into this. And he rewrote it for me because it's really contralto tenor. Oh my God. He kept saying, you can really sing down there. I kept saying, are you sure they're not going to think this is Leon Mitchell? Because it's such a tenor baritone. It's amazing. And the opera is such a tearjerker anyway. But yeah, play Aunt Hannah. And I am looking forward to it because it's totally different. Totally different. I think people, when I come out on stage, people are going to say, that's not Leona Mitchell.
You were one of the first to in the classical world to openly voice a change or to advocate for diversity in the space. Could you touch on any of that advocacy work that you have done?
Oh gosh. Well, I was, when I came along, well, Leontine was one of, the first real prima donna at the Met. A lot of us young ladies were coming in, but the men were not, and Black men. And so that's one of the reasons I don't have a recording career, because I stepped out and spoke out about the absence of Black men in opera. And so I remember my manager was actually crying, Leona, why did you say this publicly? Oh my God, it's going to ruin your career, because you weren't supposed to speak up. And the Black brothers were all saying, yay, Leona. But I paid for that, Malik. They didn't like it. They did not like it. But you know what? I'm so happy though, because look what's going on now. Oh, it gives me chills. It is everywhere. Black men are everywhere. It just makes me so happy. So happy, because I knew that we had the voices. I knew it. And matter of fact, before even Vincent Cole went to the Met, I was just in Jimmy's ear constantly. You should have Vincent Cole. You should have, because he never listened to whomever. He listened to whomever he wanted to listen to. But finally, he finally had Vincent. And then after Vincent, then, came others. But oh my God, it was hard. It was hard. And I paid for that. Look what's happened. How glorious. How glorious. The world gets to hear our gorgeous sounds from our Black men. Oh my God. Another thing, Malik, is that I happen to be what really made them really get rid of me is the controversy with my elder brother, Yahweh Ben Yahweh. And so that was the ticket to say, oh, we don't want these people around us. So yeah. So that was another thing to help them along the way. But anyway, I'm just grateful that some people get to hear these videos and see me, and I think I'm really grateful for that, because who knew that would actually kind of take over more than CDs. You know what I mean? It would be the videos. So I didn't get to be paid for that, but anyway, I'm glad it's out there, because people know that I'm out, that I was there, and that's a real comfort to me.
Yes, and a lot of recordings. There's this YouTube channel. His name's like Justice Tiki, but he has a lot of
Actual
uh,
recordings.
well, not I think they're like he went into the hall with the recorder.
Right. That's what I mean, but they're pirated.
Yeah, but
Okay, but he has actual performances.
like entire recitals, like some that you did at the 92
Yes,
Y,
yes,
like
yes,
that.
yes. I was so happy. But he's making money off of it, but I don't care, because I want the people to know this, what I was versatile. I wasn't just an opera singer, but I was an all-around singer. And so I'm so happy.
Speaking of recitals, I know like a lot of African American singers always include a few spirituals at the end. What is the importance and significance of that for you?
Well, for me, well, all of us, we just want to keep our heritage, the slavery and all that. And these songs came out of there, and part of our Black heritage, and we just want to, show that. And it's a way of keeping all of those people that sacrificed alive, that type of singing. It means a lot. And I love today when I hear the gospel choirs at the universities, when they put their take on it and they put a little bit of gospel in it, I just go crazy. I think, oh my God, that is it's just so amazing to me. It makes it just so special when they take those those old songs and put a little bit of gospel in them. I just go crazy. I think it's so wonderful and unique, and a lot of ingenuity, and it's special, but it keeps it alive to the younger kids too. But yeah, but that's why I kept them, and we all did. We all had our allegiance to the spirituals. We all ended with, anybody of note ended with their spirituals. Hmm. And you know what? I didn't get to go to, I was, nowadays, see, we came along when it was just starting to be integration. And so Leontine, like that, would have gone to all Black schools, and Grace, all of them would have been. And then I was at my junior high year, whatever they call it now. They call it not junior high, but whatever that is. Secondary school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I got to be integrated. And I think that's the only reason I became an opera singer, because they in this little town, they didn't have avenues to help promote you that way. I have my elder sisters that wanted to, maybe they have a classical sound, and they weren't pushed, see, because we were in this little country town. Because I went to an integrated school, I happened to get with this teacher that had wanted to sing opera. And she heard that in my sound. I was just so blessed. It was just, I guess God's timing. It was for me. I'm actually learning more about her now as I'm here sitting, because she had a book of letters. I didn't even know. I heard her talk about, she never talked about it to me. She wouldn't take my time, but I didn't realize she was so experienced. She had gone to New York to study with this Met singer, and she would spend months in New York, and I'm just enjoying her letters. She's talking about going on Fifth Avenue, doing this and that, and I didn't even know that about her. But no wonder she singled me out, because she had heard all the great people sing, and she knew that I had the goods. And oh my God. And then I listened to a 78 recording of her doing Pace Mio Dio, and it sounded like me. But because of her mother, she was an only child, her mother didn't want her to do that. She wanted her to come back and teach school. It's horrible. It's a horrible story. And she had the goods, but the mother didn't want her to do that. And the mother also promised her mother she would not marry until she passed away. So she didn't get to get married to 50 some years old.
What's the name of this teacher?
Her name is Maureen Morrow Prevey. So she put all of her hope in me, and because she went against all of the racist society here. She took me around to the clubs and said, "Can you help this girl go to school?" And none of them would give a penny. She and her husband would do to help me. She when she came and heard me at the Met, she said she couldn't even hear the opera because she cried the whole night, because she could have done that. Wow, she was before her time, because she went and she bucked the system no matter what they said, about a Black girl shouldn't do this. And by the way, but she when she had me do Leontine, I was a senior in college, so this was all new. And she said, "Oh, if she can do that, then I'm pushing Leona." So wow, what an angel for me. She was an angel for me. Mhm.
That is actually a really good segue into my last question. So on the topic of heritage and diversity, you've since retiring from the stage, you've had a lot of honors, but one of the ones that I think is most interesting is the Leona Mitchell Heritage Museum.
Yes,
Could you
yes.
talk a little bit about that?
This museum is housed at my father's old church, and they've redone it up to be a museum. But he just thought, I had done so much for Oklahoma, and so he thought, these Mitchells, we've done a lot. He said, "I bet we could have a museum." And so my sister in California, Barbara Finley, thought, well, I'm gonna make that happen. And when my father passed away, she just started gathering a lot of information about our city. And actually, it started out as requiem just to the blacks in Oklahoma and our connection with the Indians and stuff. And so her daughter did a lot of research. And so this museum was started that way. And so she has a lot of stuff in there about our connection with the Indian people. And then all that she started doing, she says, telling our story about the blacks, how we got here and all of that. She even has a actual piece from a plantation owner that houses our great 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 grandfather, how he was sold and how much. She has these things in that museum. And so, then she working with the Arts Council here in Oklahoma and things, and they said, well, you really, really to highlight your museum, you really need to name it after your sister. So they said you could get, federal money and blah, blah, blah. You really need to have it after her. And so they did a research and they saw that there really wasn't many opera singers that had, not even Leontine, that have a museum after them. So they went after that and made it a 401c and made it the museum. And then they put it on, because my city has my streets named after me, Leona Mitchell Boulevard, Leona Mitchell Place. And so it happens to be where my dad's church is.
So to wrap up, what are you up to today, or do you have anything else you want to say?
Well, I'm just thankful for all that, the career that I had and having been there, it's been such a blessing. And now I'm just relaxing and just, as the kids say, chilling with this new music. So I'm just ready to get out here and do this little new thing, because I do like to perform, because I was, trained that way from a little kid. And so it's a part of me. I don't need to just close up shop, period. So that's what I'm aiming for.
That's it.
Malik, I'll have to come back to Carnegie Hall, New York, and bring my jazz. That's what
Yeah. I live right across the street from the Met. When I get off, I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna say, y'all need.
Leona, if you see that there on the marquee, Leona and her jazz numbers, okay. So that's what I'm hoping to do eventually.
Thank you so much again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Malik. Thank you so much. God bless you too in your endeavors.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later.